Hello, my name is Michael, and I obsess. I come across something that grabs me and I consume until I can't take anymore, and then I'm on to the next. Some obsessions last a week, others a lifetime. It is my intention to explore these obsessions with you as they occur while the passion is hot. Welcome to Eclectic Obsessions.
In the village. What do you want? Information. Whose side are you on? That would be telling. We want information. 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 You won't get it. By hook or by crook. We will. Who are you? The new number 2. Who is number 1? You are number 6. I am not a number. I am a free man.
The Prisoner is a 17-episode British TV series first broadcast in September of 1967. It stars and was co-created by Patrick McGoohan and combines the spy genre with elements of science fiction, allegory, and psychological drama. The series follows a British former secret agent who is abducted and imprisoned in a mysterious coastal village resort where his captors try to find out why he abruptly resigned from his job. Although the show was sold as a thriller in the mold of the previous series starring McGoohan, Danger Man, retitled as Secret Agent in the US, its combination of 1960s countercultural themes and surrealistic setting had a far-reaching influence on science fiction and fantasy TV programming, and on narrative popular culture in general. I was introduced to The Prisoner through a concept album by the band Devil Doll called The Girl Who Was Deaf. A few days later, I saw a DVD of the series in a friend's collection and asked to borrow it. 1 hour later, I was hooked. We are going to explore this influential series on this episode of Eclectic Obsessions. The title sequence begins with a clouded sky and the sound of thunder, the latter becoming that of a jet engine. As the theme music begins, the view dissolves to reveal a stern-faced man driving rapidly in his Lotus 7 down an empty highway and then past the Houses of Parliament in London, into an underground car park. Entering the building through a set of double doors labeled Way Out, he then strides down a long, narrow corridor leading to another set of double doors. He pulls these open with great ferocity. The man mounts a fierce argument before a man at a desk, delivers an envelope marked private, personal, by hand, to the other man, and slams his fist onto the desk, smashing the saucer of a cup of tea. Throughout all of this, the man behind the desk is not seen to speak and appears to be fiddling with a pen, so it never becomes clear whether he is even listening to what is being said. The angry man leaves and drives home, not realizing he is being followed by a hearse. Meanwhile, in an unknown location full of filing cabinets, an automated system types a series of large X's across the man's photograph and drops it into a drawer marked Resigned. At the man's flat, he quickly packs his possessions. The hearse pulls up and a man dressed like an undertaker approaches the front door. A white vapor floods the room through the keyhole, rendering the man unconscious. He awakes seemingly in exactly the same place, rises, walks straight to a window, looks out, and sees the village. The man encounters the village's population, hundreds of people from all walks of life and cultures, all seeming to be peacefully living out their lives. They do not use names, but have been assigned numbers, which give no clues to any person's status within the village, whether as inmate or guard. Potential escapees therefore have no idea whom they can and cannot trust. The protagonist is assigned number 6, but he repeatedly refuses the pretense of his new identity. Number 6 is monitored heavily by Number 2, the village administrator, who acts as an agent for the unseen Number 1. A variety of techniques are used by Number 2 to try to extract information from Number 6, including hallucinogenic drug experiences, identity theft, mind control, dream manipulation, and various forms of social indoctrination and physical coercion. All of these are employed not only to find out why Number 6 resigned as an agent, but also to elicit other purportedly dangerous information he gained as a spy. The position of Number 2 is filled in by various other characters on a rotating basis. Sometimes this is part of a larger plan to confuse Number 6. At other times, it seems to be a change of personnel made as a result of failure to successfully interrogate Number 6. Number 6, distrustful of everyone in the village, refuses to cooperate or provide the answers they seek. He struggles, usually alone, with various goals, such as determining for which side of the Iron Curtain the village works, if it indeed works for any at all, remaining defiant to its imposed authority, concocting his own plans for escape, learning all he can about the village, and subverting its operation. His schemes lead to the dismissals of the incumbent Number 2 on 2 occasions, although he never escapes. By the end of the series, the administration, becoming desperate for Number 6's knowledge as well as fearful of his growing influence in the village, takes drastic measures that threaten the lives of Number 6, Number 2, and the rest of the village. A major theme of the series is individualism as represented by Number 6 versus collectivism as represented by Number 2 and the others in the village. McGowan stated that the series aimed to demonstrate a balance between the 2 points. The location of the village is unknown for most of the series. Clues in the series as to its whereabouts until the final episode are contradictory. In many happy returns, it is said to be on the coast of Morocco or southern Portugal, possibly an island, and is located by Number 6 in this area while making reconnaissance passes in an aircraft. Prior to this, in the chimes of Big Ben, it is claimed to be located on the Baltic Sea. The episode states in Lithuania, 30 miles from the Polish border. The series finale episode, Fallout, reveals that the village is located in the United Kingdom. Number 6 and other characters are able to drive from the village to central London, although a line of dialogue in Many Happy Returns has a character speculating that the village is on an island. This is never confirmed in the series, and in fact all given locations, save for that in Fallout, should be considered unreliable evidence given the fact that they are mentioned as part of a deception aimed at getting Number 6 to reveal why he resigned from his secret British government job. The Italianate architecture of the village is somewhat deceptive as the interiors of the buildings are frequently Georgian, 1960s mod, or in a number of instances an oddly sparse kind of ultra-modern design. Throughout the village, music plays in the background, nearly all of it alternating between rousing marching band music and lullabies, periodically interrupted by public announcements. The media and signage consistently incorporate sailing and resort themes. Exactly who operates the village is deliberately obscured. Ostensibly, the village is run by a democratically elected council with a popularly elected executive officer known as Number 2 presiding over it and the village itself, although internal dialogue indicates that the entire process is rigged. Work units, or credits, serve as currency in its shops and are kept track of with a hole-punched credit card. Although various members of the community in the village hold down jobs or even own businesses, most, including Number 6, do not have jobs, though are given a comfortable lifestyle. The exact size of the environs of the village is never established on screen. Besides the town site, which is known to include a hospital building, there are forested, mountainous, and coastal areas. The village is large enough that one episode, Living in Harmony, established that an entire Old West town and environs was built somewhere in the vicinity. In Arrival, Many Happy Returns, and other episodes, Number 6 actually views the village from the air, and yet is apparently unable to spot any surrounding towns or cities. In other episodes, buildings can clearly be seen on the far side of the bay. Nevertheless, all maps of the village seen in this series display little beyond the central town site, indicating that the village is surrounded on 3 sides by mountains and on sea on the 4th, though the map does show a road leading off the map which may connect to other areas. For official identification purposes, all residents and staff in the village are assigned numbers in lieu of names, and with very few exceptions, the use of proper names is forbidden. Numbers are reassigned as and when the current holder leaves the village. The actual population of the village is unknown, other than that there are some residents whose numbers are in the low triple digits, and in The Schizoid Man, a private residence is briefly seen with the number 241, and save for number 2, the numbering appears to have no bearing on one's authority or rank within the village. Most identification badges are white, but some are black. The only character never seen wearing a number badge other than number 6, who refuses and is only seen wearing a badge on a couple of occasions, is the unnamed butler who serves number 2. His number, if he has one, is never revealed. Similarly, only one character, a woman in The Schizoid Man who befriends number 6, is consistently identified by a proper name and never by her number. There is an extensive network of tunnels and caverns under the village, connecting many of the public buildings and a number of secret facilities and support services, plumbing, waste disposal, observation cameras, etc. These are generally off-limits to all prisoners above, but they appear to be extensively utilized given the amount of motorcycle traffic observed in them in the final episode. There appears to be a large liquid-filled underground chamber that looks similar to a lava lamp, probably a short distance off the coast, in which Rover resides when he is not being used. The normal background display of the large monitor in number 2's office is a view of this chamber, and lava lamps are visible in virtually every public building in the village, giving rise to the speculation that these lamps may have functioned as some extension of Rover itself. This was never directly referred to on screen. The village is a self-contained society, and appears to be mostly self-sufficient as well, although no farming areas are ever seen, so it appears that the food and supplies are shipped in from outside. It is sprawling enough to contain several hundred prisoners, in a comfort level similar to that of a hotel or a resort. As seen in The Girl Who Was Death, the population includes several children, implying that some prisoners are so resigned to their fates that they have married and started families. The village has its own daily newspaper, the Tally-Ho, a cinema, a statue garden, a retirement home, a gymnasium, a fully equipped hospital, taxi service, a radio station, a television studio used mostly for news reports and announcements, a restaurant, a music shop, and its own graveyard. In addition, there are extensive recreation facilities. Although alcohol is officially outlawed in the village, in one episode, number 6 stumbles onto a hidden bar located in a cave on the beach, run by a single bartender and a homemade distillery that serves real alcohol. An old acquaintance he meets there informs him that the village authorities tolerate its presence partially to mollify harder cases with alcohol, and because the proprietor is an eccentric genius who doodles groundbreaking equations when not serving customers, which the authorities periodically steal. The local economy functions on a credit chit system. The final episode also revealed that the village conceals a missile launch facility deep underground. As stated previously, the village is run by a democratically elected council, with a popularly elected executive officer known as Number 2 presiding over it and the village itself. Whenever the council is seen, none of its members speak or move in any way. In actuality, the village is a brutal dictatorship, best described by Number 6 himself as this farce, this 20th century Bastille that pretends to be a pocket democracy. It is ruled by a revolving series of chief administrators designated Number 2, some of whom return to the office after lengthy absences. They vary greatly in personality and methodology. Some of them are quite amiable, some are sadistic, and some are mere bureaucratic functionaries bordering on functional impotence. Number 2 appears to be directly answerable to unseen superiors, the shadowy they, or Number 1, pulling all the strings from behind the scenes with direct contact via a red hotline phone. It appears that Number 2 is continually being observed by hidden cameras, and indeed one of the Number 2s confides to Number 6 in the chimes of Big Ben, "I'm as much of a prisoner here as you are." Whether Number 2 literally means that he is a captive is not known for certain. Several number 2s are shown coming and going from the village at will, and the very first number 2, when he receives orders regarding his replacement in arrival, takes it calmly with understanding, as opposed to other number 2s such as the one in A, B, and C, who live in fear of such an order. However, when the number 2 of Chimes of Big Ben returns in Once Upon a Time, it is made clear that it is against his will. In the final episode, Fallout, number 2 makes it clear that he had been kidnapped in much the same way as number 6, but chose to quickly give in instead of fighting his captors. Exactly who operates the village is deliberately obscured. At first glance, it appears to be run by communist types, suggesting it is a holding cell for captured Western agents. Later on, it appears to be operating with some assistance from British intelligence, implying that it is a holding area for Western agents who have been compromised or are feared to be untrustworthy by their own agencies. Several of the number 2s in the course of the show appear to be unclear as to whom they are actually working for, and one explicitly says, "It doesn't matter who number 1 is. It doesn't matter which side runs the village." Both sides are becoming identical. Another number 2 implies that both East and West are covertly operating the village together for unknown reasons. The overall impression given by the series is that some kind of nebulous organization is manipulating all the Cold War powers for its own ends. Weapons, alcohol, and tools are forbidden in the village, but there are no walls or visible barriers to prevent escape and no apparent prison guards. Indeed, aside from number 2 functioning as warden, the village at first appears to have no real security infrastructure. This is merely a ruse, however, as subsequent episodes reveal that many of the other people in the village are in fact warders, planted unobtrusively in the community and reporting back to the current number 2. It is strongly implied that they, the never-revealed masters of the village, have several plants in the village as well, whose identities are unknown to number 2, and report back to them directly. One of the more sadistic number 2s, seen in Hammer into Anvil, is particularly paranoid about this possibility. An underground control room monitors closed-circuit television cameras located throughout the village. Observers continually spy on villagers and foil escape attempts with the aid of Rover, a large white balloon-like device that chases would-be escapees. The perimeter of the village is surrounded by a pleasant wooded area, including 1 or 2 caves, which may or may not connect to the network of underground tunnels. Beyond this, Rover patrols. If anyone ventures too far from town, they will be intercepted and nudged back towards home. If anyone attempts to escape, Rover will capture them and they will wake up in the village hospital. Rover has been shown to kill on 2 occasions. The exact cause of death is not revealed. The target is enveloped or suffocated. This happens to the victims in Arrival and the Schizoid Man. However, in Free For All, number 6 is attacked in a similar manner, but survives. Citizens use the phrase, "be seeing you," as a farewell, accompanied by a waving gesture consisting of thumb and forefinger forming a circle over the eye, then tipped forward in a salute. This may be a reminder that in the village you are under constant surveillance. Anyone may be a warder, a stooge working for number 2, although a simpler theory of the salute could be that the fingers are formed into the shape of a number 6. Most, but not all guards, wear the same style of resort clothing and numbered badges as the prisoners, and mingle seamlessly among the general population. Thus it is nearly impossible for prisoners to determine which villagers can be trusted and which ones cannot. When last seen in the finale episode Fallout, the residents of the village are evacuated by helicopter after number 6 primes a missile or rocket located within a silo beneath the village to launch. The episode in the series never reveal what happens to the village or its people after number 6 finally escapes.
How'd you get started?
Boredom.
Just that.
Was how it started.
With
really.
TV or with society or with you?
TV, initially. I was doing a series that was called Secret Agent, and I'd made 54 of those. And I thought that was an adequate amount. So I went to the gentleman, Lou Grade, who was the financier, and said I'd like to cease making Secret Agent and do something else. So he didn't like that idea. He preferred that I'd gone on forever doing it. But anyway, I said I was going to quit. He said, all right, what's the idea? And I had a whole format prepared of this prisoner thing, which initially came to me on one of the locations on Secret Agent when we went to this place called Port Million, where a great deal of it was shot. And I thought it was an extraordinary place.
And that's how you found the place. It was
we went there on
when you were
location.
doing the Danger Man series.
Yeah. And I thought it was an extraordinary place architecturally and atmosphere-wise and should be used for something. And that was 2 years before the concept came to me. So I prepared it and went in to see Lou Grade. I had photographs of the village and a format. So I talked for 10 minutes. He stopped me and said, I don't understand one word you're talking about, but how much is it going to be, you see? So I had a budget with me, oddly enough, and I told him how much. He says, when can you start? I said, Monday, on scripts. And he says, the money will be in your company's account on Monday morning, which it was. And that's how we started. Also, behind it, of course, was a certain impatience with the numerology of society and the way we're being made into ciphers. So there was something else behind it as well.
Was that a personal thing in terms of your reaction to society, or was it more of an observation? Do you feel you're being...
I think we're progressing too fast. I think that we should pull back and consolidate the things that we've discovered.
You didn't initially want to do 17 films?
No, 7 as a serial as opposed to a series. And I thought that the concept of the thing would sustain for only 7. But then Lou Grade wanted to make his sale to CBS, I believe, first ran it in the States. And he said he couldn't make a deal unless he had more. And he wanted 26. And I couldn't conceive of 26 stories because it would be spreading it very thin. But we did manage over a weekend with my writers to cook up 10 more outlines. And then eventually we did 17, but it should be 7.
How would you have described or explained the concept of the series to those writers? It was the first time you sat down with them. What did you tell them?
It was very difficult because they were also prisoners of conditioning, and they were used to writing for, you know, the Saint series or the Secret Agent series, and it was very difficult to explain. We lost a few by the wayside. I sat down and I wrote a 40-page history of the village, sort of telephones they used, the sewage system, what they ate, the transport, the boundaries, the description of a village, every aspect of it. And they were all given copies of this. And then naturally we talked to them about it and sent them away and hoped they'd come up with an idea that was feasible.
What about the philosophy, the rationale of the village? What did you tell them about that?
A place that is trying to destroy the individual by every means possible, trying to break his spirit so that he accepts that he's number 6 and will live there happily as number 6 forever after. And this is the one rebel that they can't break.
To what end was that process of breaking down the individual will?
I think it's going on every day all around us. I had to sign in to get into this joint.
Mm-hmm.
Downstairs, yeah.
Made you angry too?
Slightly, yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Pass keys, you know, and let's go down to the basement and all this. That's prisonership as far as I'm concerned. And that makes me mad. And that makes me rebel. And that's what the prisoner was doing, was rebelling against that type of thing. When it came out originally in England, there were a lot of haters of it. It was a love-hate relationship, whichever way you looked at it. Well, already there was a small cult. Now there's a much bigger one over there. In fact, when the last episode came out in England, it had one of the largest viewing audiences, they tell me, ever over there, because everyone wanted to know who number 1 was, you see, because they thought it would be James Bond type number 1. When they did finally see it, there was a near riot, and I was going to be lynched, and I had to go into hiding in the mountains for 2 weeks till things calmed down. Absolutely true.
They were angry.
Oh, yeah, walking around the streets was dangerous.
Why?
For me.
Why were they angry?
Because they thought they'd been cheated. Because it wasn't, you know, a James Bond number 1 guy.
It was themselves.
Yeah, well, we'll get into that later, I think. Come back to that one later.
But you know,
that's a very important one. I wanted to have controversy, argument, fights, discussions, people in anger, waving fists in my face, saying, how dare you? Why don't you do more secret agents that we can understand? I was delighted with that reaction. I think it's a very good one. That was the intention of the exercise. Did
you get any special kind of response from politicians, from bureaucrats, people in the kinds of corporations we all know and hate?
Not enough. I suppose they steered clear of it. But then, of course, they'd be the very ones that wouldn't understand it. You see, one of the things that is frustrating about making a piece of entertainment is trying to make it appeal to everybody. I think this is fatal. I don't think you can do that. It's done a great deal. You know, we have our horror movies and we have our science fiction things. The best works are those that say, somebody says we want to do something this way, and do it. Not because they're aiming at a particular audience. They're doing it because it's a story they think is important. And it's a statement that they want to make. And they do it, and then whoever wants to watch it, that's their privilege. I mean, the paintings in an art gallery, you know, you have a choice whether you're going to look at this one or that one or the other one. You have a choice not even to go in. I think progress is the biggest enemy on earth, apart from oneself. And that goes with oneself. They're a two-handed pair. With oneself and with progress, I think we're going to take good care of this planet shortly. We're run by the Pentagon. We're run by Madison Avenue. We're run by television. And as long as we accept those things and don't revolt, we'll have to go along with the stream. Number one was depicted as an evil governing force in this village. So who is this number one? We just see the number twos, the sidekicks. Now this overriding evil force is at its most powerful within ourselves. And we have constantly to fight it, I think. And that is why I made number one an image of number six, his other half, his alter ego.
Did you know when you first outlined the series in your own mind, the concept, that number one was going to turn out to be you, to be number six?
No, I didn't. That's an interesting question.
When did you find out?
When it got very close to the last episode, and I hadn't written it yet. And I had to sit down this terrible day and write the last episode. And I knew that it wasn't going to be something out of James Bond. And in the back of my mind, there was some parallel with the character six and the number one. I didn't really know exactly till I was about a third through the script, the last script.
How about your colleagues, the other writers? Were they surprised?
Yeah.
Were they annoyed? Did they decide it was untidy?
No, they used to come along from time to time and say, who's number one, you see? I mean, and I told them it's a secret until we eventually wrote it. And it was, actually, and they didn't know until I handed out the script.
But were they disappointed by that?
No, they liked it. They said they always knew it was going to be himself.
Once you told them,
a few of them did, really, but they didn't.
Nobody really did.
No.
Why the double mask? Why the monkey first? Or was there a reason?
Yeah, because we're all supposed to come from these things, you know, and it's the same as the penny farthing symbol bicycle thing. Progress, you know. But the monkey thing was we're all supposed to, according to various theories extant these days, come from the original ape. So I just used that as a symbol, you know, the bestial thing, and then the other bestial face behind it, which is laughing and jeering and jabbering like a monkey. He's got no freedom. Freedom is a myth. There's no final conclusion to it. And I was very fortunate to be able to do something as audacious as that with no final conclusion to it. Because people do want the word "the end" put up there. Now, the final two words for that thing should have been "the beginning."
Arrival, September 29th, 1967. After resigning, a secret agent finds himself trapped in a bizarre prison known only as the Village. After waking up in the village and discovering his captivity there, number 6 encounters a friend from the outside who may have a possible escape.
I suppose you're wondering what you're doing here.
It had crossed my mind. What's it all about?
Sit down and I'll tell you. It's a question of your resignation.
Go on.
The information in your head is priceless. I don't think you realize what a valuable property you've become. A man like you is worth a great deal on the open market.
Who brought me here?
I know how you feel, believe me. And they have taken quite a liberty.
Who are they?
A lot of people are curious about what lies behind your resignation. You had a brilliant career. Your record is impeccable. They want to know why you suddenly left.
What people?
Now, personally, I believe your story. I do think it was a matter of principle. But what I think doesn't really count, does it? One has to be sure about these things.
And that gives you the right to poke your nose into my private business?
Now, please. It's my job to check your motive.
I've been checked.
Of course, but when a man knows as much as you do, a double check does no harm. A few details may have been missed.
I don't know who you are or who you work for. And I don't care. I'm leaving.
Have you not yet realized there's no way out? As I said, one likes to know everything. For instance, I had no idea you liked lemon tea.
The time of my birth is missing.
Well, there you are. Now let's bring it all up to date.
4:31 a.m., 19th of March, 1928. I've nothing to say. Is that clear? Absolutely nothing.
Now, be reasonable, old boy. It's just a matter of time. Sooner or later you'll tell me. Sooner or later you'll want to. Let's make a deal. You cooperate. Tell us what we want to know, and this can be a very nice place. You may even be given a position of authority.
I will not make any deals with you. I've resigned. I will not be pushed, filed, stamped, indexed, briefed, debriefed, or numbered. My life is my own.
Is it?
Yes, you won't hold me.
Won't we? Let me prove that we will.
The Chimes of Big Ben, October 6, 1967. A new number 8 named Nadia arrives in the village, and together she and number 6 plot their escape.
Do you still think you can escape, number 6?
I'm going to do better than that.
Oh,
Going to escape and come back.
come back.
I mean, escape, come back, wipe this place off the face of the earth, obliterate it, and you with it.
Ah. Subsection 6, paragraph 4. Add. On the other hand, persecution complex amounting to mania. Paranoid delusions of grandeur. Don't worry, number 6. You'll be cured. I'll see to it. No more nightmares. If you have so much as a bad dream, you will come whimpering to tell it to me. Whimpering. I'll do a deal with you, number 6. You tell me one thing, and I'll release you. Why did you resign?
Release me? From the village.
Now, that's really all we want to know. Now, it's not much to ask, is it? If you insist on staying here, I do hope you'll make some attempt to settle down. Try to take part in community life. This exhibition that's coming up, for example. Wait a minute. Just there. At the age of 15, top of his class in woodwork. That's the sort of thing. I mean, join in.
I'll make you a handle for this door.
You'll be back. Whimpering.
A, B, and C, October 13th, 1967. Number 2 believes that number 6 resigned because he was going to sell out. Using dream manipulation, number 2 tries to determine which one of 3 possible candidates number 6 was dealing with.
Number 2 here. Yes, sir, I am doing my best. He's very difficult. I know it's important, sir. He's no ordinary person, sir, but if I had a free hand... I know, sir, yes. I know I'm not indispensable. Give me number 14. Number 14, the experiment must come forward.
Impossible. I need all of a week.
I haven't got a week.
I haven't even finished testing it on animals, let alone people.
Then now's your chance.
When?
Tonight. This brainchild of yours had better work, for your sake. If this man is damaged, I shall hold you responsible.
You know I haven't had a chance to prove the drug.
Just get it right, or I'll see that it's proved on you. What's all that about?
Energy from his brain. Thoughts, like sound waves, converted into electrical impulses, and finally, into pictures.
How very single-minded.
He's not conventional.
I sometimes think he's not human.
It's an anguish pattern.
So this is your wonder drug?
Yes. 3 doses. And that's the absolute limit.
Why?
3's dangerous enough. 4 would kill him. His mind is now yours. What do you want from it?
Why he resigned. I believe that he was going to sell out. I want to know what he had to sell and to whom he was going to sell it. We've researched and computed his whole life, and it boils down to 3 people. A, B, and C. He must meet each one of them. We shall then know what would have happened if we had not got to him first.
Free for All, October 20th, 1967. Presented with the opportunity, number 6 runs for election to the post of number 2.
Eclectic. We are, however, fortunate in having with us a recent recruit whose outlook is particularly militant and individualistic. Let us hope that he will not deny his duty to the community by refusing to take up the challenge. Good people, it is my pleasure to present to you the one and only number 6.
I am not a number. I am a person.
In some place, at some time, all of you held positions of a secret nature and had knowledge that was invaluable to an enemy. Like me, you are here to have that knowledge protected or extracted.
That's the stuff to give him.
Unlike me, many of you have accepted the situation of your imprisonment and will die here like rotten cabbages.
Keep going, they'll love it.
The rest of you have gone over to the side of our keepers. Which is which? How many of each? Who's standing beside you now? I intend to discover who are the prisoners and who the warders. I shall be running for office in this election. Good people, let us applaud a citizen of character. May the better man win, and a big hand for number 6.
The Schizoid Man, October 27th, 1967. Number 6 wakes up with a new identity. Now he is number 12. Worse, number 2 asks him to impersonate someone, number 6. But the new number 6 is more like him than he is.
What's it all about? Our prize prisoner, the one we call number 6. Toughest case I've ever handled. I could crack him, of course, but I can't use the normal techniques. It's too valuable. Mustn't damage him permanently, say our masters. That's why I need you.
Why do you need me?
You bring 2 great gifts to bear. Firstly, your ability as an agent.
Oh, yes. Secondly?
You have a unique physical advantage.
Physical advantage of growing a moustache overnight?
No, not quite. You took longer that time in Bucharest.
Bucharest?
You remember how Susan hated you without it? She told me she wouldn't kiss you until you grew it again.
Yes, good for Susan.
You know, you really do bear a remarkable resemblance. Remarkable. Your job, number 12, will be to impersonate him. Take his sense of reality away. Once he begins to doubt his own identity, he'll crack. What do you think of the idea?
I think it has fascinating possibilities, but you'll have an awful job convincing me that I am not your number 6.
Ah, excellent, number 12, of course. Always the professional. Started living the part already, eh? Oh, that reminds me. Allow me. You're now officially number 6.
I shan't need this to remind me that I am your number 6.
You'll find all his background details in here. Study them. You want to watch that, number 12? Number 6 is right-handed. Yes, we'll just have to make a very few changes. Oh, don't worry. I'll get a couple of my girls to work you over a little. But they're very pretty.
The General, November 3rd, 1967. An instant learning process becomes the village's latest fad, but Number 6 is sure that Number 2 is using it as a brainwashing tool.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of another successful edition of Speedlearn. Our thanks to the Professor, and our congratulations to the General. Good night to you all. Sweet dreams.
Who were they, Number 6? Who let you in? What are their names? There's an organization, isn't there? Dissidents. Who's the head man?
Santa Claus.
Who's the head of the organization? You'd be wise to tell us.
He won't tell you anything. He's a trained conspirator. Very hard man.
This reactionary drivel that you were on the point of sending out to our conscientious students. The freedom to learn, the liberty to make mistakes, old-fashioned slogans.
You are an odd fellow, Number 6, full of surprises.
Now, to the matter in hand. I'm sure that a man of your caliber will appreciate that rebels must be kept under the closest possible surveillance with a view to their extinction if the rebellion is absolute. Take down a problem for the General. An illustration of infallibility. Point 1. A traitor in the village. Point 2. Security pass discs were issued to Number 6. Point 3. Access to these is through where? Through where?
Administration, sir.
Put that down. Also that Number 12 is an official in administration.
Many Happy Returns, November 10th, 1967. After waking to find the village deserted, Number 6 returns to England, but does not know whom he can trust there.
Pretty spot. Mixture of architectures, Italian and difficult. Certainly has a Mediterranean flavor. What do you think, Thor?
I think I wouldn't mind a fortnight's leave there. Living for life, eh? Far cry from Sing Sing.
I'm sorry to interrupt an afternoon's golf, Colonel, but this is not a joking matter.
My dear fellow, you really mustn't blame Thor. After all, you yourself on occasion could be a little skeptical. That's why you were such a good man. Why we were so sorry to lose you.
The evidence is there. A set of photographs from ground level of a holiday resort. And a schoolboy navigational log on the back of what you call the village newspaper.
I'm sorry, it's the best I could do in the circumstances. You'd hardly expect the village store to issue sextants, would you?
Indeed, indeed. The place was as you said it was. The Tally-Ho.
A daily issue.
Morning or evening?
Daily at noon.
What are facts behind Town Hall? Town Hall?
That's right.
Town council?
Correct.
Were you a member?
I could have been. It's democratically elected once a year.
Democratically?
That's what they claim.
And they're all numbers. No names. No names at all.
Just numbers.
I see.
Numbers in a village that is a complete unit of our own society. A place to put people who can't be left around. People who know too much or too little. A place with many means of breaking a man.
Intriguing.
They have their own cinema, their own newspaper, their own television station, a credit card system, and if you're a good boy and cop up the secrets, you are gracefully retired into the old people's home.
But no escape.
They also have a very impressive graveyard.
Which you avoided.
The village was deserted.
Perhaps they were on the Democratic annual outing.
Dance of the Dead, November 17th, 1967. Number 6 comes across a body that is washed ashore with a radio. After sending the body back out to sea, he tries to use the radio to get rescued.
You make the most of your opportunities. You don't blame us for doing the same. Ah, she's taken to you. I'm jealous. Oh, she's mine. She works here, too. She's very efficient. Almost ruthless.
Never trust a woman, even the four-legged variety.
You can trust everyone. And will. In time. Let's go back. The cabaret is beginning.
In his pocket.
The wallet?
Yes.
It's still there. Amended slightly. We'll amend him slightly. It's you who's died in an accident at sea. May I?
So to the outside world.
Which you only dream about.
I'll be dead.
A small confirmation of a known fact. Don't blame me. It's a question of waste not, want not.
I thought there was a cabaret.
There is. You are it. In the matter of the people versus this person, the court is now in session.
What is my crime?
We'll come to that. Perhaps I should explain. Our legal system is unusual.
No jury.
3 judges decide here.
As in the French Revolution.
They got through the dead wood, didn't they? I'm appointed by the court to defend you. This lady to prosecute. The judges have been chosen.
Checkmate, November 24th, 1967. Inspired by a large chess game with people taking the place of the game pieces, Number 6 thinks he has a means to tell the prisoners from the wardens and formulates a new escape plan with some compatriots.
Yes?
Control here. I thought you ought to know, sir. Number 6 getting friendly with the rook.
Switch me into vision.
Yes, you were intimidated without force. By my manner, you assumed I was a guardian. That's true. By your manner, I knew you were a prisoner, subservient.
Audio.
If he'd moved the King's Knight instead of the Queen's Knight, he'd have been covered.
Yes, but the bishop would have taken the knight.
Yes, and then the Queen would have taken the bishop. Checkmate.
Seems all right.
You want to watch, Cap?
No. Doctor?
Yes, number 2. How confident do you feel about the success of the rehabilitation treatment?
On the rook?
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll find he's now properly integrated.
You heard that?
Yes.
I don't think we need to waste time there. Whatever Number 6 learns from the rook will teach him. There's no point in rebelling.
The guardians pose as prisoners, but none of them would be intimidated by me.
You're a prisoner.
Yes, only other prisoners would obey me.
So you find a way to identify. So where does it get you?
It's the first step. No escape plan can succeed without knowing who you can rely on.
Audio. That looks rather suspicious. Can't you get me audio?
The mic's kaput. Electric's chuck's on its way.
Do you think he's fixed it?
I'd take bets on it.
Planning something. Let's have him in for tests.
Cat.
Dog.
Rain.
Shine.
Desk.
Work.
Hope.
Anchor.
Anchor.
Hope and anchor is a pub I used to drink at.
Tree.
Leaf.
Home.
Away.
Return.
Game.
Love.
Game.
Game.
Tennis.
Table.
Chair.
Sheep.
Shape.
Red.
Sails.
Free.
For all.
Yeah, that's enough.
Foot.
Never.
Courage.
Ever.
Suck.
Well.
Some unusual associations, but nothing significant so far. Positive signs of abnormality. A total disregard for personal safety and a negative reaction to pain.
Well, he wouldn't be able to fake that.
Let a man who could. It would require superhuman willpower.
What's this?
This is a new experiment. If it works, it will prove invaluable to you.
What exactly is the experiment?
A development on research carried out on dolphins. As a means of submarine detection, you'll remember, they implanted transistors in their brains. Of course, we haven't got as far with humans, but I think this may prove effective for our purposes. Thank you.
Hammer into Anvil, December 1st, 1967. Number 6 vows revenge and goes after a sadistic Number 2 after he drives a fellow village resident to her death.
You defied my instructions to come here. We have things to discuss about the girl you murdered.
Oh, never mind the girl. I want to talk about you.
You're wasting your time. Many have tried.
Amateurs.
You're professional. A professional sadist? Light blue. Fearless. Or are you? Each man has his breaking point, you know. And you are no exception. You react.
Are you afraid of me? What is going on up there? Disgusting. You think you're strong? We'll see. You must emboss or the hammer sign. You must be anvil or hammer. I see you know your getter. And you see me as the anvil? Precisely. I am going to hammer you. Number 2. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Everything's under control. No, sir. No problems. Assistance? Oh, no, sir. I can manage. Yes, sir, of course. Be seeing you. You were saying something about a hammer? Get out. Thank you very much. I'll break you, number 6. Yes.
It's Your Funeral, December 8th, 1967. To save the prisoner who is being set up to take the fall, Number 6 must intervene in a village power struggle and prevent the assassination of a Number 2.
What are you doing here?
I was just going to wake you up.
You have. Who are you?
I'm a number. Just like you, doesn't matter which.
How'd you get in?
The door was open.
Always is. To them, isn't it?
But I'm not one of them.
No. What do you want?
Help.
Go to the town hall. The Citizens' Council promises help and advice to everyone.
Their Citizens' Council.
As far as I'm concerned, what's theirs is yours.
I am not one of them.
No. No one is. Go back. Tell them I was not interested, that I wouldn't even listen. What's the point? They know already. I won't go for it, whatever it is. So you may as well stop trying.
We never stop Number 6. She was given a drug yesterday, one of the new super strength mopropamates that we've developed. She doesn't know anything about it, of course.
Yesterday?
Well, the drug remains dormant until triggered by the nervous system, and then it releases itself to the desired quantities to produce instant tranquility or, temporary oblivion.
But why?
Well, in anticipation of Number 6 throwing her out, which he was about to do.
And will, when she revives.
No. You see, she's become a lady in distress, and he's going to be all good deeds and sympathy, and I've still got a few moments before she comes to. I don't recall my procedure agenda authorizing the door being left open.
It was an afterthought, to make certain that once the girl made up her mind to go and see him, she'd have access.
Doesn't she know how to knock on a door, then?
He doesn't always answer. It seemed like a good idea.
It wasn't. Because now he is going to assume that we sent her. And we don't want that, do we? Do we?
No.
Now, this plan is too important for just little slapdash improvisations, no matter how good the idea may seem at the moment.
Yes, Number 2.
She's coming out of it.
A Change of Mind, December 15th, 1967. After a brawl, Number 6 is declared unmutual, and Number 2 stirs the village to ostracize him. He then takes even more drastic measures to cure 6's unmutuality.
It is your clear duty, Number 93, to prove that you are once again a suitable member of our society. The only way for you now to regain the respect of your fellows is to publicly acknowledge your shortcomings. Go to the rostrum and confess. We will tell you what to say. They're right, of course.
They're right, of course.
Quite right.
Quite right.
I'm inadequate.
I'm inadequate.
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 Disharmonious.
Disharmonious.
I'm truly grateful.
I'm truly grateful.
Believe me.
Believe me.
Believe me. Believe me. Believe me.
Believe me.
Believe me. Believe me. Believe me. Believe me.
Believe me.
Believe me. Believe me. Number 6, enter.
I take it you have completed the written questionnaire of confession?
Of course. Naturally.
Please do not be hostile to the committee. We are here to help you.
Do please sit down. Tell us about yourself.
I take it you checked my file regarding hostility?
Your files are no concern of ours. Any information about you is with number 2.
Right.
It is the duty of this committee to deal with complaints.
Complaints?
Your complaints.
Well done. I have several.
You realize a serious charge has been leveled against you, particularly regarding your attitude to your fellow citizens. We deplore your spirit of disharmony.
That's a common complaint around here, isn't it?
I would counsel discretion, number 6.
You do appreciate that everything you say is being recorded.
And may be used as evidence against me?
This is a strictly impartial committee.
Number 6, you are not called before this committee to defend yourself.
All we ask is for your complete confession.
I'm sure you will cooperate, number 6. Gentlemen, it's time.
Do Not Forsake Me, O My Darling, December 22nd, 1967. With his mind transferred to another body, number 6 wakes up in his London flat and can't convince his colleagues who he is. He takes off to Austria to find the one man who can help him, the person whom number 2 wants him to find.
Ah, Colonel. Had a good trip?
Yes, thank you.
Did they feed you before you left, or would you care for breakfast?
No, thank you. I'd appreciate knowing my duties as soon as possible.
You've no idea why you're here.
All I know is I was sent here by the highest authority.
You were indeed. You should feel very proud.
I'm gratified, certainly. And now, if you'd be kind enough to explain what I'm supposed to do.
What sort of opinion would you form of that fellow?
Anybody who spends his time doing that must be rather stupid.
You couldn't be more wrong. Because he's our most interesting citizen from every point of view. Particularly yours.
Why's that?
You'll find out. Tell me, have you heard of Professor Seltzman? Professor Jacob Seltzman?
I don't seem to recall the name. Should I?
No, in your line of business, I suppose not. Dr. Seltzman is a great neurologist who became fascinated with the study of thought transference.
I've actually seen it done in India,
where Seltzman studied for many years. As you know, the advanced yogi is capable of living in a state of suspended animation for months, his mind and body dissociated. Now, what Seltzman did was to take this discipline several stages further, and with scientific aid, he was able to transmit the psyche of one person into another.
Impossible. I don't believe it. Where is this Seltzman?
Nobody knows. The only man who may, because he had the last contact with him, is our friend.
Are you asking me to believe that it's possible for me to become you and you to become me?
Not exactly, but near enough.
I don't believe it.
Colonel, if I told you 10 years ago that we could have flown a rocket round the moon, would you believe that?
No, I suppose not. But why all this interest in Seltzman?
Colonel, you must be aware that all major powers have in their prisons one or two of each other's spies.
Yes.
From time to time, diplomatic swaps take place. Imagine the power we would have if the spy we returned had the mind of our choosing. We could break the security of any nation.
Living in Harmony, December 29th, 1967. In an Old West setting, a lawman who resigned is trapped in a town called Harmony, where the judge wants him to be the new sheriff, by hook or by crook.
Welcome to Harmony, stranger.
Harmony. Never heard of it.
Not many people have, senor. It's sort of exclusive.
So am I. Where is this town?
You'll find out, senor. It's not wise to ask too many questions here. Hey, hombre. You look like a man who could use a drink. Why you not try this saloon?
Come and join me, Sheriff.
Whiskey. You know me.
I don't know you.
I know you. I know all about you. That's why you're here.
Where?
Here. He's good. Sensitive. But one of the best. He's mean.
There are plenty of those.
I could use some more. Like yourself, for instance.
I'm not for hire.
You turned in your badge?
And my gun.
What were your reasons?
My reasons.
You've already taken the job. With?
With whom?
Look, I'm offering you a job. Harmony's a good town. Runs smooth and peaceful. Now, let's be friendly.
Red 2. The black 3.
Think it over.
I already have.
And?
I'm moving on.
When you change your mind, I'll be here.
The Girl Who Was Death, January 18th, 1968. Back in London, Number 6 avoids the assassination attempts of a beautiful woman while foiling the plots of her megalomaniac father.
I'm glad you came. This is to be our love tryst. You may not see my face, but you may know my name. My name is Death. You are a born survivor. I am a born killer. We were made for each other. But I fear this is where it must end. Your reflexes cannot save you now. Will come swiftly, suddenly, when your luck runs out. With my love. Come. Is your heart pounding? Your hand shaking? That's love, my darling. I can see you're having a swinging time. But that's not quite what I had in mind. Perhaps this will help. You'll soon get the point. Incidentally, they're electrified. Ingenious. Nobody's ever thought of that before. You really are the most entertaining lover I've ever had. That was ill-mannered and dangerous. I might not have been able to warn you that the rest of this floor is mined. Very small, but very sensitive, and quite deadly. Oh, I almost forgot. They will all explode anyway in 90 seconds. These are my invention. They have a cyanide derivative mixed with the wax. As the wax burns, it gives off cyanide gas. Every candle in this room is breathing poison into the air. Do so believe in double glazing, don't you? Keeps out the noise. Of course, it does keep out the air, too. Oh, a last word of advice. If the candles are blown out, they explode.
Once Upon a Time, January 25th, 1968. Number 2 subjects Number 6 to a desperate last-ditch effort to subdue him, degree absolute, an ordeal that will not end until it breaks one of them.
Degree absolute. I require approval.
Unlike me, many of you have accepted the situation of your imprisonment and will die here like rotten cabbages.
If you think he's that important, there's certainly no other alternative. You must risk either one of us. I am a good man. I was a good man, but if you get him, he will be better, and there's no other way. I repeat, no other way.
I will not make any deals with you. I've resigned.
Degree absolute. Tonight, please.
I will not be pushed, filed, stamped, indexed, briefed, debriefed, or numbered.
A week. That's not long enough. You don't want to damage him.
My life is my own.
Very well. Tonight. Degree absolute. You're under orders.
What period?
1 week.
Emergency?
Well, it has to be, hasn't it?
Mind if I check?
You check nothing. Release all subsidiary personnel.
First shift, early release, timesheets as normal. Double night time.
Blow up channel 3.
Channel 3.
Check profundity.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Third way back.
Slow. And hold on 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Diminish! 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5.
Safe enough. I'll take over.
It's a risk. I'd hate to see you go.
It's all yours. For 1 week. Get moving. Degree absolute. Operate!
Fallout, February 1st, 1968. After witnessing the trials of Number 2 and Number 48 and meeting the President of the Assembly, Number 6 escapes during the chaos that follows.
At the other end of the scale, we are honored to have with us a revolutionary of different caliber. He has revolted, resisted, fought, held fast, maintained, destroyed resistance, overcome coercion. The right to be person, someone, or individual. We applaud his private war and concede that despite materialistic efforts, he has survived intact and secure. All that remains is recognition of a man magnificently equipped to lead us. That is, lead us or go. You are free to go.
Free to go.
Anywhere.
Why?
You have been such an example to us.
Why?
You have convinced us of our mistakes.
Why?
You are pure. You know the way. Show us.
Why?
Your revolt is good and honest. You are the only individual. We need you.
I see.
You do. You see all.
In 2009, the series was remade as a miniseries, also titled The Prisoner, which aired in the US on AMC. The miniseries starred Jim Caviezel as Number 6 and Ian McKellen as Number 2, and was shot on location in Namibia and South Africa. The series received mixed reviews, mainly unfavorable, with a 45 out of 100 rating by 21 critics, and a 3.6 out of 10 rating by 82 users as of July 2018. Okay, cards on the table. The Prisoner has not aged well, but taken as a 1960s period piece, it is fascinating. For its time, it was highly influential and revered. You can still see traces of the doors it opened in today's television. I do suggest checking it out, but know that it is not for everyone. I have been obsessed with it for years. Thank you for listening to Eclectic Obsessions. If you like what you've heard, please subscribe on iTunes. Leave me a review. All 5-star reviews will be read on the show. You can follow the show on Facebook at Eclectic Obsessions, on Twitter at Eclectic Obsess1, on Instagram at Eclectic Obsessions Podcast, and on YouTube at Eclectic Obsessions. I'd love to hear what you think. Feel free to email the show at ecobpod@gmail.com. We'll be back in 2 weeks with a new Eclectic Obsession.